I am watching Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 41 for the very first time. And I just got to say, right from the beginning, this is a huge match. Obviously, this was a match a lot of people were anticipating heading into WrestleMania. Some people might say it was the most anticipated match. And just the entrances alone show you how big of a deal this thing was. So Seth Rollins comes out first with a flamethrower, dressed in all black. Then the lights go out. He changes into all white. He puts his shades on, walks to the ring. And his entrance was longer than usual, it felt like. It was probably more than 3 minutes. And that set the stage for what came next, because as soon as Roman Reigns' theme music hits, Seth Rollins reacts to it, looks at the entrance, and his longtime friend slash enemy starts making his way to the ring. And I like that they did it that way, that they had Rollins come to the ring first and Roman Reigns comes out second, because during the entire entrance, they kind of cut back and forth, like the camera cuts back and forth between Rollins and Reigns, highlighting the fact that these two, obviously, they go way back. They started in the Shield when they actually were helping CM Punk retain his WWE Championship many, many years ago. And obviously Seth Rollins broke up the Shield, and they've had stories that have intertwined with each other. Rollins was involved in the Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns storyline where Cody finally won the WWE Championship. And you can kind of feel it when you're seeing these guys look at each other, and when Roman gets in the ring and you see the look on Seth's face, and Seth turns his back to him when Roman throws the one in the air, because for the bloodline thing. Really good stuff, because usually you don't see that much storytelling during entrances, but in this case you did. And obviously the last person to come out, which by the way, I like that too, having CM Punk come out last in his very first WrestleMania main event, which was a goal of his for his whole life, coming out with Paul Heyman, his best friend, and with Living Colour giving him a live entrance. I was actually at WrestleMania 29 when Living Colour played Punk to the ring. It was another live entrance, a live performance of their song, CM Punk's theme song. And that was when Punk faced The Undertaker, which was the best match of that night. And that was great. But you could see the pure joy on CM Punk's face as he's walking to the ring. And he's like almost like a kid again, because he finally gets to achieve his dream of main eventing WrestleMania. Win or lose, you can't take it away from CM Punk. He is a WrestleMania main eventer. So the match begins when Punk rolls out of the ring. He goes over to Paul Heyman and says he needs some wisdom from the wise man, sort of mocking Roman Reigns. And Roman and Seth start going at it in the ring. And eventually all three guys are outside. Seth takes out Roman, and then it's down to Punk and Seth, and they just start brawling. And they start going into the crowd, and they start using weapons like a trash can. Punk suplexes Seth onto a trash can while they're in the audience area. They keep fighting, and you start to forget that Roman's in the match, because this is kind of like a little bit of a hardcore match within the match. And then they start coming around to where the announcers tables are. And then all of a sudden, Roman comes out of nowhere, sprinting, jumps clear over the barricade right into Punk and Seth. So I think that was pretty cool, and that was a big exclamation point by Roman Reigns, showing his athleticism. I mean, the guy, remember, he's a big, big guy, and he freaking treated that barricade like he's running the hurdles in the Olympics. He just completely cleared that thing, flew right over it, and right into Seth and Punk. I thought that was pretty cool. The middle of the match is very interesting. And one of the things I always dislike about triple threat matches in general is that they usually do too many three-person spots. Like, they make it seem like it's more choreographed, and that's why I don't like three-person spots where they came up with this ahead of time. Like, that's what goes through your mind when you're seeing these three-person spots. They didn't do a lot of that, and that's what I like. they pretty much tried to make it seem like every guy was sort of on their own and they all had a fighting chance to win. That was very important because sometimes in triple threat matches, there's usually like one guy who's kind of out of it for a lot of the match and then maybe comes back at the end for a flurry. But no, everybody here gets their spots, gets to look good. Everybody's looking strong, and they're trading moves, and it all fits together well. It doesn't seem forced. It doesn't seem overly pre-planned, even though it probably was. But I mean, it just doesn't look like that. The only time when they started doing like 3-person spots where it was clear that they definitely talked about these things beforehand was when they were interrupting each other's finishers, because they started doing, pedigrees, Superman punches, GTSs, and usually when they're trying to pull it off, the third guy will come and interrupt it, or he'll do his finisher. And so they did that a couple of times. There was some near falls. There was a point when Rollins catches Roman Reigns like midair while Reigns is going to do a spear, but he catches him with a pedigree, then a stomp. He pushes Punk out of the ring so he can't interrupt the count. Rollins goes for the cover, and Roman kicks out before the count of 3. That was a good near fall. I mean, I didn't think that was actually the end of the match, but they're doing a good job of keeping the excitement there, keeping the tension there. They're not like doing chin locks and rest holds to like bring the crowd down or whatever. No, they're keeping it like this is a 3-person fight. Anybody can win at any time. This is constant action from beginning to end. That's like the story they're telling. It's like these 3 guys are on the same level, and you better pay attention because the finish can come at any point. Now, going into the conclusion of the match, they're trading finishers. Everyone's looking good. There's some really, really close falls, and I started to realize there is one thing missing in this match, and it is the fact that there is not a world championship on the line. Obviously, there were different world title matches at WrestleMania, Gunther and Jey Uso, which I was not happy that Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble. He is a good Intercontinental Champion level performer. He's great as a character, great on the mic, but in the ring, he leaves a lot on the table. Let me just leave it at that. But obviously you had Cody and John Cena, with John Cena being a heel, and obviously that let everyone down, but that was on night 2. But I really think this match should have had a world title on the line. With all those near falls, it's kind of hard to sustain the type of excitement that a world title match would have had, because there's no stakes here. Like, this match is not for anything really, other than bragging rights. Like, even when like Undertaker faced Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25, a title wasn't on the line, but the streak was on the line. Or the next year, Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, the streak and Shawn Michaels' career was on the line. Even when you have a really good match, it always helps when there's some stakes, when there's something on the line, and there really wasn't anything on the line here. So that was the one thing I noticed as the match was getting to the point where, okay, all the finishers have been hit multiple times, but nobody's been pinned. And it did make everybody look strong, but again, this match is only for bragging rights. And then we go into like the final conclusion where each of the guys has hit a finisher in succession and they all are down. And then Paul Heyman grabs a steel chair walking into the ring. So everybody thinks, well, obviously he's in Punk's corner, so he gives the chair to CM Punk. And so that's an interesting story in and of itself, because he's like telling Punk to use it, and Punk raises the chair like he's going to use it, which is interesting. It's like Punk has always been a guy that he's going to do whatever it takes to win, right? I mean, he's been a heel many times before, so using a steel chair, might as well, right? It's legal in a triple threat match, so you can't blame him. And then Paul Heyman low blows him. And the crowd pops, obviously. And so everybody thinks he low blows him because he's protecting Roman. So it makes sense. It's the tribal chief. The bloodline is the biggest story pretty much in the past decade. And Paul Heyman realigning himself with Roman Reigns kind of makes sense, because Roman said it himself. He made Paul Heyman relevant again while Punk was out of wrestling. And so it made sense for the time being. So he gives the steel chair to Roman, and everyone thinks Roman is going to hit Seth. He hits Punk a few times, so Punk's out. Then he goes to hit Seth, and Paul Heyman low blows Roman Reigns. So that was the one that no one's expecting, because why would he do that? And so he low blows Roman Reigns, hands the steel chair to Seth Rollins, who looks like he was, ready to receive the chair, as if Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins had some kind of a plan before this match even began. So now, obviously we're getting to watch the plan play out. Seth hits Roman with the chair, wins the match. Match is over. Seth Rollins wins. I think out of everybody, Seth is the one who needed the win the most, but I would have liked to see Punk win because it is his first WrestleMania main event. But, honestly, Punk being in the main event was a victory in and of itself. Rollins is the one who needs the win. He gets the win. Roman doesn't need anything. He's won so many WrestleMania main events. He's been in so many WrestleMania main events. He is viewed as the top guy of this generation. So it all went pretty much according to plan. Like, my one knock against it is it wasn't as interesting as it could have been if it was a world title match. And if I was going to give this match a rating, I would give it like a 4, maybe a 3.5 out of 5. 3.5 out of 5. Still, a really good triple threat match, but just because there was nothing on the line, that kind of restricted how interested I'm going to be in this match. Obviously, I enjoy the performers. I think they're all really good in their own right. But yeah, heck of a main event for night one of WrestleMania 41. And I wanted to see Punk versus Reigns, but that's the match I wanted to see last year, but that's what we're getting this year. So I'm thinking Punk versus Reigns one-on-one is going to be a better match, because I just think, Punk and Reigns, that's a long time in the making. That match and Punk versus Cody are the two big money matches that they still have left to do. Obviously, WrestleMania this year, we're going to see Punk and Roman. And I know one day down the line, we're going to see Punk and Cody before Punk retires. So, this match, great main event. It was the right match to main event out of all the matches that were on the card. And yeah, do I think it's worth watching? Definitely, because this is how a triple threat match should be done. It shouldn't be so heavily, clearly orchestrated, pre-planned to the point where, like, you're doing all these three-man spots. They did them, but they did them in a way that kind of made sense. And it was, as the match was reaching its conclusion with everybody hitting finishers. I did think there were too many finishers, yes. I'm not a fan of tons and tons of finishers. That's another reason why I'm only giving it a 3.5 I'm giving it a 3.5. Because if I give it a 4, that means it was like great, and I'm like, I can't wait to see it again. And I'm probably not going to watch this match again. It wasn't on that level. But it was good for what it was. From the entrances to the very conclusion, with Paul Heyman aligning with Seth Rollins. And even after the match, Punk gets his moment in the ring alone where he gets to say, he finally did it. He main evented WrestleMania. 3.5 out of 5.